Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com presents The Real Estate King of South Florida with your host, Philip Simonetta, PA. Founder of the Simonetta Group of Charles Ruttenberg Realty and the Real Estate King Coaching and Consultant Group, specializing in introducing structure, authenticity, and humanity into the real estate world. Not to mention a splash of wild and crazy. We bring you your host, Philip Simonetta, PA.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate King of South Florida. This is Philip Simonetta, joining you guys on a Christmas week episode. I wanted to welcome everybody, and I have my guest here this evening with me, Mr. John Ellis. He owns a company called ACT Now PMA, which stands for Private Membership Association. And what he does, he works with individuals, businesses to create privacy for themselves, to protect their assets, and to avoid their from costly estate costs, such as probate and things of that nature. So I wanted to introduce him quickly to say hello. He's here with us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate it.
And I'm looking forward to speak with you about what exactly you're doing with the trusts and all of those other options for people with memberships and organizations. And it's really interesting at this time of year. Us as a real estate corporation, as a company, we're actually a subchapter S corporation.
Right.
And, I was speaking with you a little bit about, possibly becoming a trust. And I want to go into that in a little more detail for myself and also the listeners and also them as individuals or companies.
Great.
In addition to this, to what we're going to speak about this evening, we're going to have a little bit of a cooking segment towards the end where I'm going to make homemade cannollis.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to contain my excitement over here. I want to dig into the ingredients over here. You can't just put
it's there.
Pile of chocolate chips in front of me like that.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
No, you can't. It'll phlegm your mouth right up.
So it's been a crazy week for myself. I'm actually just getting over a very bad cold, so bear with us. And also, George is here with us.
Hey.
Co-host. And I wanted to also thank our first sponsor, videoprints.net. This is the first episode they're being involved with us, and I just wanted to announce that and have George speak a little bit about them and what they do.
Shout out to Ike, by the way.
Definitely a shout out to Ike.
Good guy. You're going to drag him on the show one of these days?
Yeah.
And does he know about the spanking machine?
Yeah, it's all back, right?
It is. It's a hand crank spanking machine. We call it the skranking machine.
There it is.
Video prints is something I wasn't even aware of until I started, working on the commercial there. And what a great idea. They can actually embed video screens on your brochures of various sizes, including video business cards. They're reprogrammable. They have play buttons, rewind. You can put like 6 videos on there.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
It's brilliant. And talk about a snazzy thing in this day and age when people are competing for attention. Mm-hmm. This is really sharp. Instead of handing them a business card, you hand them a business card that's got a little video screen on it, and they can play, video presentation about your business, which is a great way to explain it to people. Explain it to people like me that don't like to read. I want tell me a story, Daddy, that kind of thing. You can actually watch the video and it explains the whole thing, and I think it's a great marketing tool. And videoprints.net is where you can go and find out more information. They got the menus right there. They've got demos, the whole catalog right there. Videoprints.net, and thank you, Ike, for
awesome.
For sponsoring the Real Estate King.
Absolutely,
of South Florida.
All right, so let's get started with the show this evening. So one thing, the first question I had for you when we started talking about the PMAs was, we were talking about trusts and different ways of structuring.
Right.
And, I'm familiar with trusts. I'm from living trusts and the different types of trusts. Being in real estate, I deal with clients who have them. Now, do I know the ins and outs of them? No. So a lot of people are going to ask the question, well, I've heard of trust, but what is a trust?
Well, a trust is very simple. The short answer is a trust is an organization that provides privacy, flexibility, simplicity, and protects the assets that it owns and avoids probate. Now, the technical answer would be a trust is a three-party contract whereby two of those parties do agree to do something at a moment in time or on the event of a particular event for a third party called the beneficiaries.
Got it. Okay, so you actually have individuals could be a trust, company could be in trust, and then there could be a board. Is it a board, or how does that work?
Well, a trust can either be an estate can be put into a trust, which are properties and assets, or a business can be put into a trust, and the business can have additional properties and assets in a trust.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you want to protect and how you want to structure what you're doing.
Right.
It's just like a corporation. A trust is very similar in both style and operation to a corporation.
Got it.
The difference is that a corporation is created by a state or a federal government. A trust is created by the power of the people exercising their own specific rights.
Got it.
And in my opinion, it's the only way to go.
Yeah. Understood. So what's the difference of having it established by the government or by the people who are involved? Where's there benefits and pros and cons to that?
Well, I don't see there's any benefits to the corporation, LLC, or any other type of structure from a standpoint of what you get out of it, because you can get the same thing out of a common law trust. The downside is significant. If you go to the state of Florida or any other state and you want a corporation, you fill out an application for a corporate charter or whatever other entity that you want, and you tell the government what you want to do, and you ask for their permission to do that. And they then give you the charter or the document that creates that entity, and you are now subject to all the requirements of that law.
Pages and pages and pages, right?
Yeah, in Florida, I was just going to say, in Florida, the corporate laws are now 79 pages long.
Wow.
The trust law for the common law declaration of trust is 2 1/8 pages long.
Wow.
So if I were to ask you a question, which would you rather comply with, 78 pages of law or 2 1/8 pages of law?
Yeah.
Which would seem more beneficial to you?
Obviously, the 2 1/8, there's a lot less regulation there.
Correct. And that's why it's so much better to do your own contract, set up your own trust, put it in play, and you can get the same limited liability that a corporation gives you. You can raise money. You can run a business. You can protect your assets. You can completely disappear from visibility if you wanted to own things without having your name
Publicly owned.
for either privacy because you just want it, or for security. And more and more people are security conscious, today than ever before, for a variety of reasons. And I'm not going to get into that because this is not a political show.
Yeah, no. I mean, you just with what's going on in the world, when people know people have assets,
right?
You want to keep yourself, as out of the spotlight as possible.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And people know that, let's say you're in the real estate business, so you have a lot of people coming to you for luxury homes.
Sure.
I know that's what you do. We've talked about that a lot. So the bottom line at that point is a lot of these people don't want to have their name on that deed.
Sure.
So they set up corporations or they set up other types of trusts. Yeah. And yet they go to the government, and by going to the government, you're giving up some privacy. You're giving up some security. You can set up a common law trust in Florida under the statutes that recognize that trust as a lawful entity or a lawful organization, and nobody will know that you're involved in that trust, whether it's for running a business or for owning an asset.
Now, who regulates that?
There is no regulation for a common law trust.
So when you would set up your common law trust and then just present it to the state and say, here you go?
You don't even present it to the state. There's no recording requirements. There's no forms you can get from the state for a common law trust.
Right.
There's no approval that you need. There's no permission of any
IRS,
kind.
tax benefits, anything at all?
Well, the trust, if it makes taxable income, has to pay a tax.
Sure, of course.
Just like any other,
but you would,
party.
How do you, how would you, do you do an EIN? How do you do
Sure,
that?
of course. The trust gets an EIN.
Trust gets an EIN number.
It has has to have a bank account. It has to have
Sure.
a brokerage account. It has to be able to conduct its financial affairs like
Sure.
anybody else would. So it does that. We're not opposed to them tracking
Yeah, no,
money
I get
for keeping people secure, for Homeland Security, or for the IRS for tax purposes. That's not the idea. The idea here is to create security and privacy that
the
nobody can
owners.
get any other way, and then keep that document and keep that type of form private and away from the prying eyes of either the government,
The public.
unless it's necessary, and certainly the public,
Yeah.
which is not necessary.
Right.
I don't owe anything to my fellow man other than to treat them courteously.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good explanation. That's awesome. I mean, to lay that out in such precise words to explain how that works is pretty amazing.
Thank
So
you.
That's really awesome what you just did. So now we get the concept of having a trust. Now, what types of trusts are there? Because there are multiple types of trusts that are out there. So could you state those and give us a little bit of
Sure.
a idea of what each one is and does?
There are basically two types of trusts. There is the statutory trust and the common law trust. The common law trust has been around longer because it goes back into England common law, back into the 13th, the 14th, the 1500s, and it came to the United States when the first English explorers came to the United States. So it's been around for a long time. Growing up around that, taking those same principles becomes the statutory trust. The statutory trust is simply a trust that is pursuant to a particular law, whether it be a state law or a federal law or even an IRS ruling like a 501c3 corporation is. It's a 501c3 only because it fits that particular IRS, Internal Revenue Service, section of the Internal Revenue Code.
Got it.
And that makes it either tax-free or tax-exempt or some kind of an organization that normal taxes don't apply to.
So could a nonprofit go into a trust?
Yes.
But they would have to file nonprofit status with the government
Correct.
first and then go in.
Well, no, it could go into the trust. You could set the trust up first and then simply notify the IRS that you're going to be traveling in paying taxes under the 501c3 exemption.
Understood. So you can so people who are setting up a nonprofit, which there's many going on, are going through these hoops and these circles and jumps and everything that needs to be done to set that up. So by setting up a trust and setting up within that, is it the same process?
A lot less regulation because you don't have the corporate regulations in place. The
Got
only
it.
regulations you have in place to qualify for the 501c3
Got it.
are the 501c3 regulations.
Got it.
You have to look into the regulations and the statutes to find out if that was something you wanted
For
to
what area
comply
you're in.
with.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so continue. I didn't want to cut you off there, but I think that's a question that raised at the moment.
Sure.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you can essentially do with a trust anything you can do with a corporation, an LLC, a partnership, or any other kind of foundation or statutory entity. Because remember, the trust, the common law trust specifically, came first. Everything else was derived from that and split from that and made to fractionalize it.
Yeah.
Like you had raised up the living trust earlier in the show. And the living trust is a great trust, but it's only designed to do one thing. The one thing that it does, and it does it very well, is avoid probate. It does not give you privacy. It does not give you security. It does not simplify your life.
Right.
And it gives you no asset protection of any kind whatsoever.
Because the living trust usually has the person's name in it.
Yes, exactly.
You're not really
So
going
you-
private on that one.
Exactly. So you know exactly who the trust is about, or it has the family name, and
Yeah.
still
Right.
the same problem rises.
Sure. Got it. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Now, there's 50 states, obviously. Some states are commonwealths, some states are states, it just depends on how they're structured and set up. So is this something that can be used in every state? And since we're in Florida, is a common law trust lawful with the way the state of Florida is structured?
Yes, very much so. In fact, Florida is a common law state. It says so in the second statute in the Florida statutes. It tells you that we have adopted the laws of England as and not inconsistent with our Constitution and laws from the down to the 4th day of July, 1776. So we are definitely a common law state. And in fact, the Common Law Declaration of Trust is in the Florida statutes, and we have that posted on our website. That's www.actnowpma.info. and you can go to the common law trust page, and not only is it posted there, I've actually taken pictures of the Florida statutes for that purpose, and you can scroll down and read exactly what they are.
Got it. So basically every state's okay, and then you have Florida down to a science there because that's where you're practicing. Got
Yeah,
it.
actually, every state not only is, most of the states are not only common law states. There's states like Louisiana that are Napoleonic Code states, and there can be other states out there that have some other laws. But under the federal government's constitution, or the federal government constitution, there is a full faith and credit clause.
Yeah.
The full faith and credit clause takes care of making everything that's legal in one state legal in another state.
Okay,
So nationwide, border to border, coast to coast, the common law trust is viable for every state and for every purpose in every state. Now, that being said, there may be some specific restrictions. Like Florida, in Florida, a common law trust cannot be a bank or a brokerage firm.
Okay.
What's
the reasons for that? Like, why is that?
I think that's because banks and brokerage firms are directly attached to the government. You're either dealing with their securities or you're dealing with their monetary instruments.
So basically,
they have the
FDIC,
right to determine who does that.
Sure.
So if they say you don't want a common law trust dealing with that, there's nothing we can do about it except comply.
Mm-hmm.
Now, other states may have additional limitations on there, and some states may have no limitations on there.
Sure.
So it goes to state by state, but we can look up any state law and find out what is viable in that state.
That's okay. Got it. So, in the initial part of the conversation, we talked about how the PMA, the trust, could be set up an individual or a business.
Correct.
So, give me an example where it'd be great for an individual, and give me an example where it would be, conducive to business.
Well, I'll tie it to your specific job. Okay. You're selling real estate. You're selling homes well above $5 million. Mm-hmm. Now that's the cap at the estate planning number. About 5.4 million.
Okay.
Is the most that you can do without running into estate taxes.
Got it. Okay. Understood.
So if you bought a house or traded a house or acquired a house in trust name, it's not in your estate. Mm-hmm. And that can give you a great degree of asset protection and estate planning at the same time. The asset protection comes because, let's say you're out on your motorcycle, and I know you like riding motorcycles just as much as I do.
Absolutely.
And you get into a car accident or an accident where you're causing it and the liability is going to fall upon you.
Sure.
And you have this beautiful $10 million house in your name. Mm-hmm. And because you're the cause of the accident, the lawyers on the other side find out you have this beautiful $10 million house in your name, and your insurance only covers $300,000 in the accident. Well, guess what? The other, whatever the award is going to come out of that house or any other assets you own. If those assets are properly funded into a trust and they become what they call corpus of a trust or the property of a trust, and you get into the car accident and all you have in your name is your motorcycle and the insurance on your motorcycle, that's all you're liable for.
Right.
Because they cannot go to the trust to take the assets out of the trust that the trust owns. Now, there's one caveat there. You have to set the trust up first, and you have to move the assets into the trust in such a way that you're not making a fraudulent conveyance.
No, and of course, so if you set up a trust tomorrow, and then you would just, as an individual, would you have your cars and your vehicles and in your own name, and then the trust would be all your assets over a certain amount?
I would never put a car,
anything that's
a plane or a boat, unless it was a huge yacht, and then it would be in its own trust.
Right.
In a trust that had anything else of value in it, because
it can reflect.
The owner of the property that does the damage and the operator of the property that does the damage are both jointly liable usually in a case. Sure. So even though that you didn't own the property in the trust, it could be reached if the trust owned that motorcycle.
Right. Another question for you. So say, when you have multiple investment properties and you have one LLC and then you have sub-LLCs for all the properties.
You do the same thing
God
with
forbid
trust.
Somebody would trip and fall and try to sue you and they're all not linked to the same LLC. They can't sue for the other property.
That's correct.
So is that the same thing with a trust? You have a head, like a main trust?
Yes.
Now, again, what's the benefit of doing that over doing the LLC?
Separates liability, and you have the same asset protection you have with the trust You don't have asset protection with an LLC.
Yeah.
You have the same privacy with the trust that you don't have with an LLC.
And the same thing with the regulations too, right? I mean, you'd have a lot less regulations going in.
Yeah, because an LLC or a partnership both have statutory regulations that you must comply with annually and that you must comply with statutorily to keep the corporate charter in place.
Got it. That's a perfect example for individual. So give me an example where business, where it actually will supplement and bring value to that, having it as a trust instead of a corporation or an LLC. So when you're actually running a business, you're operating a service business, or even if it's a real estate business, you use the same analogy.
Yeah. Again, you go back to the same privacy, asset protection, avoidance of probate. The business is going to stay operating long after the people that created the business and started it up and started making it profitable are gone. So that probate tax only comes into play when the trust empties itself and disperses all of its assets. So that might fall on the second or even the third or fourth generation.
So how would that come? So if the business sells, would the new buyer buy the trust?
He could. That'd be the easiest way.
The easiest way is just if it was a corporation, they take the corporation over, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Same
They
thing.
don't have to change. Like in your business, you have a $10 million home, let's say, and closing costs on a $10 million home would be normally how much?
They're substantial. I mean, you're talking
Roughly.
you're on a $10 million home, you're probably talking close to $100,000.
Okay. So if I said to you, I can move you into this house with no closing costs simply by retiring the trustees and having the current beneficiaries giving up their beneficial interest and assigning the trustees to your trustees and the beneficial interest to your beneficiaries, and you've changed the ownership of the house effectively without 1 second worth of closing costs.
Yeah. Well, you still have your tax transfer. You still have all that.
Everything else
but you're
still
talking,
applies.
Yeah,
That's correct.
But you wouldn't have any. Yeah, I get that.
Because see, the title to the property doesn't change.
Right. The title stays
It
the same.
still
but taking over
stays
that
in the
trust.
county recorder's office as ABC Trust.
Right. So there's no
owning
property,
the property
transfer. Sure.
That's
I get
right.
that. Absolutely. Interesting. Got it. So. Yeah. So I see exactly. I mean, the benefit there. I mean, it's huge. That's tremendous. And then with estates. How does that affect an estate? So if you have someone, who's passed away, and would they have the family be involved in the trust?
Prior? Oh, they could. Sure.
Is that
Many people
something
do
you
that.
recommend? I mean, is that something?
Yeah, many people do that.
Yeah.
A lot of times grandparents are know that they're very elderly and they want to set up their estate so that they're not only their kids get it, but their grandkids or even grandkids.
Sure.
Get it. Nelson Rockefeller, in the book called The Rockefeller Files, set up 70 trusts before he died.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what he put in there. He had Standard Oil at the time and a few other things that were considered nice assets.
Interesting.
But it took 70 different trusts to, maintain his estate as one of the wealthiest estates in America at the time.
Huh.
He was considered at that time the richest man in the United States.
Wow.
So he obviously knew something.
Yeah, no. I mean, you use that as like an asset protection, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, my next question was, how does a trust actually provide that asset protection? So that's kind of amazing how you just you went into that, and that's the next area I'm going to.
Yeah.
So we were actually progressively moving there. So how does that happen? Like legally and structurally, how do you set that up where you're actually protecting the assets?
Well, it occurs as a simple property ownership device. In other words, if I own property and you get in a car accident and you're the cause of the car accident, you can't come to me and take my property away from me to satisfy a judgment against you for that car accident.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay? So it really doesn't matter that it's a trust. It just matters that the property is properly owned by something else or someone else other than you.
Got it.
Once you've taken it out of your name, that's where the asset protection comes in. Not the fact that inherently it's the trust.
Now,
It could be anything.
taking it from one name to another, now, when you're talking about a property, now you have a mortgage. You have a deed
Correct.
that's in a name. Is that with the mortgage in place, is that something that you can do?
Yes. In fact, the deed, the actual mortgage follows the deed on the property.
Okay.
And there's a thing, I think it's clause 19 of the standard mortgage.
Okay.
It's called a due on sale clause. You're probably
Yes,
familiar with
I
that.
am, yeah.
Okay. So if you try to alienate your interest in a property and there's a mortgage on it, they can collapse the mortgage, make
Call
it
it
due
right
on
there.
sale, call it in as payable in full
Sure.
immediately. There's a very simple process that we found. I'm not going to disclose it on the radio,
Got it. Okay.
but we addressed that with the bank, and we have not had ever a
Yeah.
bank say no to that.
I mean, that's like, when someone gets married, to add the wife or to add the spouse.
Correct.
Or to add the brother after they bought the house.
Correct.
It can be done. There's forms that does it. I mean,
Yes.
I just wasn't sure if
There's a notification process
Yes.
that you go through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you do it right and you explain to the bank that it's not diminishing their asset or their interest in their asset at all, then they don't have any problems with that, and they don't invoke the due on sale clause.
Awesome.
So it just
That's
goes
pretty
from
cool.
your name into the trust name.
And then with that documentation, you're good.
Correct.
Got it. And that doesn't affect the repayment of the mortgage or anything like that.
No,
That's-
you're
it's
still
all the same.
it's the parties
The
that
note's
are
still the note. The mortgage still enforces
Exactly.
the note. You're good. Okay.
exactly, and don't pay that note and see what happens. It not only goes for the mortgage, it goes for a mechanics lien too.
Okay.
So if you had somebody come out and work on the house,
Never pay 'em
and
or-
and you didn't pay them, the fact that it's in a trust isn't going to help you try to avoid the mechanics lien.
Sure.
Because the mechanics lien is on the title, and once the person that puts the mechanics lien on the title
Yeah.
performs the work, he's entitled to be paid.
No, I get it. Yeah, for sure. For sure. One of the big things that stuck out to me when we were talking about this was about how to, work with probate. And you avoid the probate process with the trust.
Right.
Now that's huge. I mean, you have a lot of elderly in South Florida or in Florida in general. So anything that can eliminate a family struggle 2 years, 3 years through after someone's passed away, and it's just legal messes and
Yeah.
things to clean up. So that's something I think is huge for people. So
Yeah.
how does that work?
Well, it works much the same way as a living trust. The living trust was invented some 30, 40 years ago for the express purpose of stopping the messes that were going on in the probate courts. And it really only does one thing, but it does it very well. It avoids the probate process. So I would encourage everybody, if they don't get a common law trust, at least go out. If you've got one or two properties, many people in Florida have
Sure.
a property here and a property up north somewhere. At least get your properties into the living trust so that your kids don't get whacked and they don't spend 18 months or even 2 years or longer in probate court trying to divide the assets that the estate has.
Sure.
And that goes even if you don't have the estate tax coming in at about $5.5 million. So today it wasn't like 10, 20 years ago where you only had $500,000 for an estate before your taxes started at, or $1 million rather,
Yeah.
at 55%. Now you can go $5.5 million. That's because, a lot of properties have appreciated. If you look at what in Florida, what it might have been $1 million home 12, 15, 18 years ago, now could easily be a $5 million home.
Sure.
It didn't change. The only thing that changed is the apparent value of it.
Yeah.
So the tax code has taken that into consideration and adjusted those figures accordingly.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, and talking about a different trust, what is the most popular trust that you've dealt with? Like, what's the most popular one you're?
The one I hear the most of is the living trust.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's got one. Most of them aren't funded, which means
Yeah.
the assets haven't been placed in it.
Just
So
there.
they've got this wonderful document sitting in the drawer in their legal stuff, and it absolutely does nothing or will do nothing for them because they haven't funded it.
Yeah.
We teach people how to fund the trust. We help and make sure that the assets are moved into the trust properly in trust name, so that in the event something does happen, whether it's a death or any other kind of trigger where the trust has to, start paying out to the beneficiaries,
Sure.
then it's got the assets to do that with.
Yeah.
And if there's an attack on the assets of your assets, the trust has those out of the way
Yeah.
and in its own name, so that your liability does not attach to those properties.
So I hear that's the second time I heard you say about moving them in properly. I guess there's an improper way of moving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a proper movement would do if you had a house and you wanted to put it in trust. would be to redo a quick claim deed, take it down to the courthouse, pay the doc stamps, and have it officially moved into a trust.
Got it.
Now it's not owned by you anymore.
Sure.
It's owned by that trust over there.
And then how do you assign who operates the trust?
Well, you want to get a trustee that you trust, a man or a woman, or preferably 2 or 3 people to make up what's called a board of trustees, because they're the ones that are going to take your contract, and this is where your directions come in, because your contract is going to put what you want to happen to those assets. Their job then is to administer the trust in such a way that those directions are taken care of.
Right. So
And then-
a couple attorneys, couple people who are of proper character.
You can have anybody you want. You have
Anybody.
a priest, a rabbi, a minister,
Yeah.
an attorney, a CPA, an accountant.
That sounds
I know a
That
joke starts like
that sounds like a party.
Could be.
Priest, rabbi, and a minister walk into a bar. And, so let me get the drums out here.
Now I get it. Okay, so that's interesting. So there's more to that. There's more to
Yes.
that process. Okay.
Your trustees have to be well thought out people that you feel very, very confident in and have proved themselves under fire, hopefully,
Yeah.
so that you know that they're going to do what you request them to do in the contract.
Sure. All right, and after having this conversation, I mean, it's an enlightening conversation. The listeners who are, watching the show, and also anyone who's going to hear this after, through YouTube and through
Right.
different podcasts, what should really trigger them to really consider at least hearing this out, giving you a call, finding out the details, how it could help them plan for their family in the future, with their estate planning. Why? Give me some of the things that really should stick out to them.
Well, anybody that's security conscious and wants privacy in a world that we're giving away privacy by the chunks on YouTube, on Facebook, all
of that.
everything that you
Sure.
can think of, social media.
Sure.
But they want to protect their privacy as far as not having people know what they own. They
Yeah.
may drive a Rolls Royce, they may drive whatever they like to drive, but they don't want somebody to know they've got a $20 million estate or a $10 million estate or even a $6 million estate somewhere, because if they have a $6 million home, they're already well over the trigger point for
For the
estate
estate
taxes.
taxes, sure.
Because if they got one at $6 million, they probably got another couple of condos or some other
Yeah.
homes around the world, and they've got some nice toys, whether they be big yachts or boats or
Absolutely.
or planes or whatever, and that all adds up at the time of death to make an estate. So if you're doing estate planning, you want to do it properly, and you want to do it with the best vehicle out there, and I believe that's the common law trust. I don't think there's
I get
anything
it.
out there that betters it.
Yeah, I get it. A lot of great information, John. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody listening and anyone who's going to hear it is going to, it's going to give them a little bit of a trigger to say, hey, let me learn about this if they're serious about their assets.
Yeah. Visit our website. It's kind of dry because it's not meant to be comical. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
It's like the lawyer
informational.
and the rabbi and they're all at the party. You know?
Exactly. Right. Takes
No,
a
I
while
get
to
it.
get through it, but
What's
it's a lot
the
of
website
information.
again? Say it.
ACT, ACT, now, NOW, PMA, .info, INFO.
Cool. All right, man. Thank you for the conversation. It was really awesome. I'm really glad
Thank
you
you for
came in.
having me.
You're here with us. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to prepare the cannoli filling now.
Great.
And then what we do is we'll take a 2-minute break after.
Okay.
And then come back and I can, fill some of the cannolis and we can just.
I was afraid you were
Have
going to
them.
eat all the chocolate chips during the interview there. I'm
You're
like,
so
I'm
good, man.
counting. It's like, are there going to be any left for the cannolis?
That pile's really gone
Like,
down
you-
since
you
we started.
promised
didn't it?
chocolate chips.
I'm getting over the cold. So
All right.
I saw a cough drop and I saw chocolate chips.
Well,
So what
there
would you go for?
Well, as a broadcaster, you don't have to choose. You eat the cough drop now, and then after the show, you nom
Right.
nom, you binge on the chocolate chips.
You
there.
know me and rules.
Get all
Come on.
phlegmy. Yeah, I agree. Rules. Right.
All right, great. So let's get this started. I'm going to.
Woo! That pile of flour
I
looks
haven't
very
had-
incriminating. I can't wait for you to mix it up.
No. That's not flour, man.
Oh, it's not?
that's
Jeez.
confection sugar.
Tony. Oh, okay. Well,
No, it wasn't that either.
all right. Thank
Okay,
you,
so-
thank you, Tony Montana.
What we're gonna do? I have the chips here, and let me just
All
pull this over real quick.
Should I play some cannoli chip mixing music?
Yeah. So what we have here, I have mixed with the ricotta. I put the a tablespoon and a half of vanilla extract, and we have some orange zest ground into the
Did you say orange zest?
orange zest.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
Off the orange peel, you take the
Yeah.
zester and you grind it, and it gives you the.
This
the
is.
zest
I should
of
be
the- of
taking
the
notes
peel.
on this. Okay.
So you put the zest in there, and it's just for flavoring.
I
Completely
thought that
for
was a
flavoring.
soap. Right, John? And the zest
I
is
had
not a bar soap.
That was my first idea.
All right. So I didn't know I didn't know zest came in orange. I only thought it was the one fragrance.
Yeah.
But I know some people
And
that would
we're
like
going to
orange.
take our confection sugar. Now, some people use less, some people use more. It just depends on your flavor for the sweetness.
Okay.
So I
We're
have
gonna
about
use
I have
more.
about 2.5 cups here with this for the amount of. And we're going to mix this in.
On the microphone.
Yep. And I leave the excess on the outside. You'll see what I mean in a second.
Okay.
I don't put it all in because I use it for the sugar on top.
Oh, brilliant.
Yep. So we're going to put this in.
I'm taking notes.
And we're not going to use all the chips. We're just going to put enough in there just to.
We're not going to use all the chips. If you're not going to talk on mic, then I'll translate for you. I'll tell the audience what you're saying so that
So
they
we're
can
going to
hear
mix
it.
this in here.
Mm.
And then you got to basically let it chill for about 30 minutes after. But I already have that going because the other batch is already squared away. So
Yeah, I don't need my.
see, it's not
Filling
it's-
chilled.
It's not so hard to make. It's the consistency,
Okay.
and with the flavors, with the amount of sugar. So if you see how I'm leaving sugar on the outside, I may not even use that. I just put
Okay.
it in and I add it as I go with it.
All right.
Like when you're making pasta and you kind of
So you're trying for a particular consistency, and you're
Right.
scooping up more and more sugar
As
until
I
you
need
get what you want.
yeah.
What's the obviously you want it thick enough that it doesn't run out the cannoli hole, right?
Right.
But and I don't know,
That's pretty good.
but flexible enough so that you can actually put it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Oh,
Here,
did
give
you
that
say
give that a little?
you had a
give that
squeezer?
little-
I want a chip here.
Give that a little.
All right.
How is it?
That will do.
A little more sweet, or you think it's good?
Yeah, that's good for me, but there was a chocolate chip in my sample.
Very good.
I think it could be a little thicker, though, if you ask me.
Yeah.
That,
Well, that's because it's room temperature. It's been sitting
right.
out. All right, so there we are. There's our filling, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a couple-minute break. And once again, I wanted to give a shout out to Ike and thank him again for being our first sponsor for this episode.
Thank you. Video
And,
prints.
Videoprints.net. You got to check it out. It's really awesome concepts where he's in basically importing video into traditional medias as in
Brochures, business cards,
brochures.
different sizes.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have a couple made with my real estate, and we'll use them as samples so
no,
we
you
can
could
get them out. We actually
some
spoke about
clips
it.
from the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can do clips and
Little
really
highlight
use
thing.
it as marketing.
Your-
with some of the other shows
Your friend
as well.
Mark is really good at editing, and he can
Yeah,
whip
yeah, Mark.
one together for you.
Yeah, Mark, he's still out of town. I
Shout
got
out.
to get in touch
Oh,
with him.
did he
I
just
miss- I
disappear?
miss Mark.
Was he kidnapped or
No,
something?
no. He's actually they've been pretty busy with work and family, and he has some things going on. So a lot of training actually out of state. He's been out of state for a bunch. So, okay, I'm going to put this in, and we'll be back in just about 5 minutes. This is Philip Simonetta, the real estate king of South Florida, coming from SoFloRadio.com.
We'll be right back with more of the Real Estate King of South Florida.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this?
Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. It's Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
Curious about your property value? Find out for free. Compliments of the real estate king, Philip Simonetta, PA, at thefreevalue.com. Now, back to the real estate king of South Florida.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we got the cannoli cream. I have it stuffed into the bag.
I see that. Oh,
Right in here.
that's just I don't know.
That's just
That
awesome,
looks
man.
obscene what you're doing there.
Yeah, wait till you
It's
taste
a little. I don't think I ever want to watch anyone make a cannoli ever again. If I want to enjoy the cannoli, I don't think I should watch this process. I don't know. It's a little unsettling here with what I'm watching.
It's not so bad. So here we go. So we got a bunch of plates, and I'm going to take some of the shells. So you're going to twist it up, tighten it up, so it's going to come out just like if you're decorating a cake. It's the same thing. Same
Oh,
kind
boy.
of bag.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
pastry bag you can put it in.
Oh, please talk into the microphone.
It's the
I'm
same
begging you.
pastry bag as if you were, you know, decorating a cake. So
Okay.
you're just going to take it and you cut it small enough to fit in, and you just give it a squeeze. And Mr. Sound Effects over here. So I'm going to make a bunch of these.
I take it back. It's actually kind
I
of
think
fun.
that goes back to
Kind of fun
Neil
to watch.
Rogers' day.
Yeah. I'm going for ratings over here. Where do you get the cannoli shells?
Now the cannoli shells, you can make them. They're very easy to make. Thing is, when you make them, they're very fragile.
Okay.
Thin. These, I actually buy them. They're almost as good as tasting as if you make them from Restaurant Depot.
Okay.
Like I said, you can make them, but forget traveling with them. Like if you're gonna make them, you fill them there and you eat them. Like you don't.
Okay.
They're not gonna hold up. So these are the closest thing to the real. You know.
How do you
to
make the real ones? Is it like a crepe?
It's basically like a dough.
Okay.
And you have a metal like cylinder, and you
All
wrap
right.
them around them and you fry.
Oh, you
They're
fry?
actually
Oh, they're fried.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're fried. Yeah.
I thought they were baked for some reason.
Yeah, you cut them in the shape, and you.
That's
you
why they're
roll 'em with
extra
the-
yummy.
You roll them with the metal cylinder and right into the fry.
What did you in a deep fat fryer?
Yeah. My grandmother used to make them.
Now, do you fry them while they're wrapped around the metal cylinder, or you just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you put them, you wrap them, put them right in, and you pull them. out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Metal cylinder gets really hot then. I
Yeah,
imagine.
it does.
Okay.
I've done it. I mean, there's cylinders that are multi, so you're not doing one
Okay.
at a time. There's all different. Yeah.
All right. Sounds dangerous, which makes it extra yummy. 'Cause-
So here we go. We're gonna give this a shot, and we're gonna try these, see what everybody thinks. So
Okay.
There you go.
Here we go. I'll take one of these.
this is the
there we
finished
go.
product once you have them chilled
you.
in the right consistency.
Very good. That's delish.
So there's something I was thinking about doing, starting after the holidays. Is
Very good.
Doing something, to give back to my clients and my community. Just for fun, was having like a free cannoli Friday. So
Wow.
make up a whole bunch of these cannolis and just give everybody one free. And
Just one? That's all- that's all I get on a Friday?
Just one free.
This size here?
Yeah, just
All
this
right.
size. One free. Keeps them
All
coming
right.
back.
That's not
every
going to get me
Friday.
to drive all the way up to
Well, if they're there,
your office.
you're not gonna have. Well, it
what
may.
else?
It just
What else
may.
you got? It might.
It just
this
may.
is really good. Can I watch you? Can I watch you make them? Because that was kind of
Yeah, I mean, we would make them. I'd have. I can't physically make them every week, but I would have somebody there and doing that as well. And also, we're launching our our Wine Down Wednesdays starting this January 6th.
Did you say wine?
Wine Down Wednesdays.
Okay.
Which is going to be an evening event at our office, 3323 Northeast 33rd Street, right on A1A in Oakland Park. And what this consists of, we're calling it Wine Down Wednesday because it's going to be complimentary wine, cheese, food, have some entertainment. And every Wednesday night from 6 to 10. It's not going to be every week, but it's going to be the first or second Wednesday every month.
Okay.
We haven't decided yet. And there's two things. You can either bring your own bottle of wine and we supply all the food, or we're going to supply some house wines, 3-4 different kinds of wine each time. And just have a little bit of an event and have some fun.
I can find some really cheap wine.
Yeah.
Liquor store over here, they have a sale bin.
Yeah, there's some great wine, too. That
kind of pile the wine in there,
So, every week it's going to...
$4
every
a bottle.
first or second Wednesday. And we're going to just have a little event where people can network, come, hang out, get to know us, see what we're about in the community, and how we can help them with their real estate needs. And there's going to be other business people there. On our block, we have restaurants and clubs, and there's a rock bar, there's a blues bar. It's in a whole area. There's a cigar lounge, and there's all different kinds of shops. It's called the North Beach Shops off of A1A in Oakland Park. So it's really a cool little spot, like a really great place to hang out. Happy hour kind of thing, or late night happy hour. So I just wanted to introduce that. And talk about a little bit how we give back and what we're doing in addition to our real estate. I mean, real estate's our passion, it's our love, it's what we do. But there's a lot more the community needs, and a lot more, relationships that I sense from people out there. There's a lot of people, especially now with the holidays. A lot of people, they're short, they're cut, they're dry, they're just doing what they have to do, and it's like motions anymore.
Why'd you call me all those things? Just because it's true, there's no reason to bring that up in the middle of the show.
That's my problem. I do that, man.
I'm short, I'm cut, I'm dry. All these shortcomings. And you got to expose me to the audience there. But I'm going to eat another cannoli. And
you would drive for it. You would drive for it.
I'm going to fill in my wounds with this ricotta.
You want another one, man?
Yeah. I thought we were limited to one.
No.
Look at this bin.
Leave the plate. Take the cannoli.
I gotta go visit some people after the show. Can you squeeze some of those?
I got a bunch here, so we can do that. That's not a problem.
It would be horrible.
So that's what we're doing, man. And I really want to involve some great real estate people with me. We're building our team right now. We have 2 new agents who came with us from larger companies, which is actually it's a really nice compliment to me for what we're building with our system and our team. And little by little, this time, another goal I have is, by the end of June, I want to have a second office set up in Brickell or downtown in Miami. So I really need to get this team here up to 10 agents who are very, proficient. And then it's going to be on to that one.
I saw the video that we played last week.
Mm-hmm. The coaching.
Mm-hmm. The coaching, and you're talking about recruiting agents.
Yeah.
I run into people with a real estate license, like daily. Everyone's a real estate agent. Everyone's a DJ.
Yeah.
The playing the computer kind of DJ, not the that kind. So I always think I should send these guys to Phil, but I don't know what you're looking for. Besides that, they just have a real estate license.
I tell you what, even if they don't have a real estate license, there's one thing I'm looking for: heart.
Heart.
If they got it, if they have a need and they have an interest to get in, to start a career that will create wealth for them, not just make money.
All right.
I'm talking, where I can train them. I have a 23-step system, which if you saw last week's show, you would see it. I can train them and teach them.
You can see
the
last week's show.
Yeah.
On the realestateking.com.
REKingRadio.com.
REKingRadio.com. All your previous shows are on there. Watch the video, listen to it, load it into your pod or your phone and listen to it while you're driving.
You can get there from the SimonettaGroup.com too when you click the watch live and the past episodes. And the thing is, in our industry, okay, there's one difference, okay, there's only one difference of what someone who made $10 million last year did and someone who made nothing last year did that has a real estate license. Because they take the same test, they go through the same training, they go through the same law classes, they get the test, and then they graduate. They hook up with a broker, whoever they're going with. They go through whatever training, and then they start working. And there's one difference of what the guy that made $10 million and the guy that made nothing did. And it's what they do with their time from when they wake up till they go to bed. That's it.
Really?
It's the same license. There's no difference. So it really blows my mind how many people are out there that say they want to do it, but when you train them and teach them, they don't do it. Like I give them every possibility.
All right.
They could sit there and they could watch me make a cold call and call somebody and see me set an appointment, and they still won't do it. And there's a fear.
That would be me. There's
a fear. But let me tell you something. If that call turned into an $18,000 commission, which one did just in front of somebody, like how do you not make that call?
Right.
Like, listen, your kid's hungry, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you can come here and learn this business, and I can teach you how to make 3 deals a month at $18,000 a pop.
Wow.
Now, where are you going to go make that kind of money?
Yeah. What if you're a horrible salesman like me? That's why I'm in broadcasting.
But here's the whole thing, George. I'm not selling anything to anybody.
Okay.
I'm calling them up. They have a need.
Yeah.
I am the best option for them.
Oh.
The job I do, the system I have, and the way I negotiate, and the deal I get done, it can't be beat, man.
You're certainly the best cannoli option. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't usually go for seconds on cannoli. A friend of mine, she says her son, my son just got his real estate license, and he's like 20, 21 or something like that. And I'm thinking, and I thought I should send this guy to Phil, but I don't know. Would you, can you mold a young punk like that?
For me, it's easier to mold someone who's never been in the business. Than to take someone who knows everything already and then teach them.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with the broadcasting.
In my business. Now, listen. I met a kid in Miami. Never met him before. 23 years old. Okay, I met him at Art Basel. Kid just closed a $30 million deal.
Wow.
You know what that is?
I don't know.
That's a $420,000 commission.
I bet he's got a nice watch.
23. Yeah. 23-year-old sharp kid.
Yeah.
And this kid, I mean, why can't a 21-year-old kid do that?
Why not?
He just needs a proper instruction. Sure. In real estate, I'm going to give you another example. I know we're running short on time. No. But in real estate, I'll give you another example. What happens is when you're dealing with a client, a client is only going to ask you 40 objections, 40 questions. They're not going to say, what'd you have for dinner Thursday night?
Okay.
So now think about this. If you're in real estate, you're calling somebody up, and they're only going to tell you 40 different things to get you off the phone. What happens if you could master the 40 different answers?
Right.
You could take 1 week of your life, be trained, and master these answers. So whenever someone talks to you, you spit them back and hit them. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you did real estate for 2 weeks or 20 years. You're going to sound like a professional because I'm going to teach you the answers to the questions.
The audience can't hear me nodding. I'm nodding a lot.
And that's what it is. It's not just about money. Okay. We talked about this before. Money for me is the byproduct.
All right.
Okay? You have to make money, of course. We all want to live. We want to have nice cars and things and, go out and live life, right?
Cannollis cost money.
Right, exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, we all want nice things, but when your true intention is really to help somebody get to where they got to go. Okay, if it's selling a house to move closer to a parent who's sick.
That's me. That's why I'm an Uber driver. No, just kidding. I'm not an Uber driver.
So,
my car's too old.
But you hear what I'm saying, right? So if you can just get the money out of your head, because the money is going to happen when you do the deal.
Well, that's easy for me because I'm lousy with thinking about money. That's why I don't have any anymore.
And it's not about being a salesperson. It's just really about caring about what you do. And if you see somebody that has a situation where they're either buying a first home or they need to get an investment property or they need to sell something, that's really what you're looking at. It's more about training, being around a group of people that you love being around with and having fun, and being able to take what you give and truly know what's the best out there and give it to them.
I'm going to tell my friend about you and see if she wants to send her kid up to you. Yeah. I'm going to say that
show her the video.
Show her the video, and I'm also going to say that there's a very rigorous initiation program involving blood, nudity, spankings.
No, I never say it much, but I'm actually I'm a brother of Tau Kappa Epsilon,
satanic,
the Sigma Phi chapter of
really?
Temple University. Yeah.
Oh, no wonder.
So I haven't broadcasted that, but
now
the
goat head in your garage, it all makes sense now. And the robes and the candles and everything, and the big braziers. And
That's what
things.
it is.
It all makes sense. I was wondering the buckets of blood.
And there's another thing. I know we got a minute or two left here.
Got lots.
Another thing I'm working on too is working with setting up with the groups who are reintegrating the military retirees.
Okay.
Where you have the military retirees out there, making 30, 40 grand a year, serving in the country, 50 grand a year.
Sure.
And they're coming out without jobs. Or you
Right,
got the
right.
wounded warriors that can't,
absolutely.
aren't
Or they
working
come back and
full-time.
their job's gone.
Jobs are gone, right. And fields are out of
Sure.
there. I mean,
No,
a
it's
lot of-
tragic. It is.
So I was thinking of, we're working on it now. I haven't really pushed through with it with everything going on and getting ill in the last week and a half. I really want to take on the project of putting a possibility out there for retiring military professionals to get a real estate license and learn the real estate business and be able to make in a month what they made all
That's
year.
great.
And really work hard.
That's awesome.
They already have the chain of command. They already have the
Yeah.
discipline. So it takes a lot of the training out of it because that's already in place. Now, when you replace the training with the goals and goal setting
that's good.
and the deals and the contacts and getting the deals closed.
That's awesome. Yeah, we don't take
That's
good enough care of
something-
our
that's
veterans.
something I
nice
wanna
that
look
you're-
at,
that You're
too.
doing that. That's
Because
excellent.
we work a lot with the VA and the when the military members are buying homes, we do a lot of the VA processing and dealings. So it was heavy on my heart. Like when I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's so many people out there struggling right now.
Absolutely.
Why not take them in, train them, coach them, teach them,
That's nice.
and and make it better for everybody.
That's really nice.
So that's something that I'm going to work on after the first of the year, of really putting that in place. But my goal is to bring in a group of 25 people every month and go through the training process. It's
Okay,
about
great.
a month long,
Okay.
and that's where I'm at. So.
All right. Well, I'll tell my friends. I had a question for John. He brought these giant books. You're not gonna.
Yeah,
you,
no,
you schlepped those all the way up the stairs. I feel show them for show and tell. What were you gonna do with those big books there? You never dropped one of those on your foot, did you?
No, I dropped them on my head, though.
Oh,
boy. I was reading them. This is actually the Florida statute that has the Florida Common Law Declaration of Trust in it. So if anybody was here that wanted to see it, I have it, and it's on my website.
I see you got it. I have a Bible I have bookmarked in just such a fashion. Way more little tabs in there. Has all the dirty parts bookmarked. Yeah. There's a lot. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they add to it every year.
The Bible?
No.
Oh, that.
This.
Okay, yes.
So it gets back in
the Mormons do. Yeah, sure.
Back in 1995, it
Absolutely.
was it was
They're still
4
adding to it.
volumes. Now it's up to 6. So.
I admire you. You didn't walk in with a hand truck, so you carried those, and
Not a problem.
I do use a hand truck when I carry things. We have an elevator. I don't suppose Phil told you about that.
No, we walked up the stairs.
Yeah, we
He walked up the
steps.
stairs.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
he's
Exercise,
a
man,
bastard
exercise.
that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's not good to his guests at all. But he does provide a
They
good
fed
nosh.
me, so I can't complain.
Good cannolis, and I'm going to hold you
Yeah,
to stuffing a few of those for the
Yeah,
road.
no, we're gonna do it right now.
before
We're gonna do it
we
right now
leave.
for you. How many do you
Excellent. All of them. No, just kidding. Half a dozen. Yeah, 4 or 6. What?
need? All right, got it.
These, I'm
Cool.
taking them to some people.
All right, so I just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We will be back again next week, but we will not be back until after Christmas. And it was a great show. I enjoyed having everybody here, and hope you guys enjoyed the cannolis.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from John. Everybody needs
It's
to
really
have
awesome.
a trust, at least one. At least
Yeah.
one. Oh my God, I feel like an idiot for not having one now. We'll be talking.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. And this is Philip Simonetta, the real estate king of South Florida, coming from SoFloRadio.com. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Real Estate King of South Florida, Philip Simonetta, PA. The Real Estate King can be heard every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on SoFloRadio.com. To find out more about the Simonetta Group of Charles Ruttenberg Realty, visit agentofluxury.com and learn more about the Real Estate King coaching program. Visit RealtorMarketingCoach.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.